It was a stormy night, and Michael was driving his truck down a deserted highway. The rain lashed against his windshield as he squinted through the darkness. He had driven these lonely roads countless times, but tonight felt different. As his headlights cut through the rain, he spotted a figure standing on the side of the road. It was a young woman, dressed in a white gown, completely drenched. She held out her hand, signaling for help. Michael hesitated. His instincts told him to keep driving, but the sight of her shivering in the rain tugged at his conscience. He slowed down and rolled down the passenger window. "Do you need a ride?" he asked. The woman nodded, her face hidden behind wet strands of hair. She climbed into the truck without a word. Michael tried to make conversation as he drove, asking where she was from and how she ended up on the road. She responded with only a few words, her voice barely above a whisper. She gave him an address about 5 miles away. Michael couldn't shake the unease creeping up his spine. Something about her felt off. As he glanced at her in the rearview mirror, his heart skipped a beat. Her reflection was distorted, as if it were a glitch on a broken TV screen. He quickly looked away, telling himself it was just the rain or his tired eyes playing tricks. When they arrived at the address, Michael saw an old, crumbling house. The windows were shattered, and the roof sagged. The woman got out of the truck and walked toward the house. Michael waited, expecting her to enter, but she disappeared around the corner. Feeling uneasy, he stepped out of the truck and knocked on the door. An elderly man opened it, his expression turning grim as Michael explained why he was there. "You saw her?" the old man asked, his voice trembling. "Yes, I gave her a ride here," Michael said. "She told me this was her home." The old man's face turned pale. "That's my daughter. She died in a car accident on this highway 20 years ago." Michael felt his blood run cold. He turned back to his truck, only to find the passenger seat completely dry, as if no one had ever been there. When Emily and her family moved into their new house, they were thrilled. It was spacious, charming, and affordable. But from the very first day, Emily felt uneasy about the basement. The air was colder there, and a faint, musty smell lingered, no matter how much they cleaned. Lights would flicker whenever someone went down there, and Emily often heard faint scratching noises at night. One evening, Emily was alone when the scratching became louder. It sounded like claws dragging across wood. Gathering her courage, she grabbed a flashlight and made her way to the basement. The stairs creaked beneath her as she descended. The scratching grew louder, coming from a small door at the far end of the basement. The door was locked, but she found an old, rusted key on a nearby shelf. When she unlocked the door, a wave of cold air hit her. The room was small and dark, with walls covered in crude drawings. Each picture showed a tall, shadowy figure with glowing red eyes looming over children's beds. Emily's flashlight flickered, and the scratching abruptly stopped. A chill ran down her spine as the room fell silent. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she saw movement. A tall, shadowy figure was standing in the corner of the room, its glowing eyes fixed on her. Emily dropped the flashlight and bolted up the stairs, slamming the door behind her. She told her parents, but they dismissed her story as a product of her imagination. The scratching noises stopped after that night. But soon, Emily noticed deep claw marks appearing on her bedroom walls. 4 friends, Mark, Rachel, Lisa, and Sam, decided to go camping in a remote forest. After hours of hiking, they stumbled upon an old cabin hidden among the trees. The cabin was small and weathered, with moss growing on its walls. Inside, the air was damp, and the wooden floors creaked under their weight. Strange symbols and carvings covered the walls, some of which looked like runes. Lisa laughed nervously. "Looks like a witch's cabin," she joked, but the unease in her voice was clear. The group decided to stay the night, building a small fire outside to keep warm. As darkness fell, they heard faint whispers coming from the woods. At first they thought it was the wind, but the whispers grew louder, like voices calling their names. Mark thought he saw a figure standing just beyond the firelight. When he shined his flashlight, there was nothing there. By morning, everyone agreed to leave, but as they stepped outside, they froze. The cabin was gone. They were standing in an empty clearing. No cabin, no fire pit, not even their footprints remained. The forest around them felt unfamiliar, and no matter which direction they walked, they always ended up back in the same clearing. The whispers returned that night, louder and more insistent. Shadows moved between the trees, circling them. They huddled together, terrified, as the darkness closed in. Only Mark and Rachel were found days later, wandering near the forest's edge, disoriented and terrified. Lisa and Sam were never seen again. Neither Mark nor Rachel ever spoke about what happened in the forest, but the haunted look in their eyes told a story more chilling than words ever could.